CN, this is the speciality of sequential architecture. Remember that only the statement process can convert concurrent signal assignment statements into sequential statements. Therefore, now once we enter the process statement, execution of every statement is in sequential manner. ज्या क्रमाने तुम्ही स्टेटमेंट लिहित जाणार आहात त्या क्रमाने आता एक्झिक्युशन होणार आहे, बरोबर. किंवा जर तुम्ही प्रोसेस स्टेटमेंटमध्ये असाल तर. नाव सपोज in a architecture, okay, now it is fine, there are these three styles of modeling: data flow, structural and sequential. But to have some light on the sequential architecture or the process statement, I would like to show you that suppose here it is a process statement with argument an. There is beginning of the process statement, end of the process statement. One more process statement is there in the architecture. This is one more process, this is other process which is sensitive to an and bn. Correct. Again it has beginning statement and end statement. In between here there are statements of the process statement. Remember that both the process statements themselves are concurrent. Therefore, if the event happens on an, which of them initiates first? We could not predict. But once a particular process statement is initiated, then the statement inside that process statement will be executed first. म्हणजे महत्त्वाची गोष्ट आहे का, या दोन प्रोसेस स्टेटमेंट पैकी कोणतं प्रोसेस स्टेटमेंट आधी सुरू होईल सांगता येत नाही, कारण दोघांच्या सेन्सिटिव्हिटी लिस्टमध्ये एन आहे. एन वरचा होणारा इव्हेंट या दोघांनाही ट्रिगर करेल. कोणीतरी एक आधी सुरू होईल आणि सुरू झाल्यानंतर मात्र त्याच्या आतमध्ये जी स्टेटमेंट्स आहेत ती कशी एक्झिक्यूट होतील, सिक्वेन्शियली एक्झिक्यूट होतील. Therefore, is the process statement sequential? Answer is no. Process statement itself is concurrent statement. But once we enter the process statement, that means the statements inside the process statement are concurrent signal assignment statements. Okay. Now here we will stop for different styles of modeling. In this part we have discussed one, the data flow architecture, in which we will have to include only the signal assignment statement, concurrent signal assignment statement. The second modeling was the structural modeling, which is quite important, in which we can think about a previous design as a component and we can build the higher version or higher level of design around it. And in case of the sequential modeling, I recommend that only in case of the sequential circuit you prefer to write the code or write the description of hardware in sequential modeling style. Now what we prefer, always we feel that it is better to write a sequential architecture, because we had a practice to think in a sequential manner. For writing a code in higher level language, we think in sequential manner. आपण असं म्हणतो ना, आधी हे होईल लिहून टाका, मग ते होईल, मग आता हे कॅल्क्युलेट करूया. आपल्या मनामध्ये असा विचार येत नाही की समजा खूप काहीतरी पाचवी लाईन कॅल्क्युलेट झाल्यानंतर पहिली लाईन कॅल्क्युलेट होईल असं आपल्या मनामध्ये येत नाही. त्यामुळे पहिली लाईन जी आहे तिच्यामधले उजव्या बाजूचे जे सगळे इक्वेशनमधले उजव्या बाजूचे जे पॅरामीटर आहेत ते आधी आपल्याला माहीत असतील असा आपला समज असतो, किंवा ते बदलणार नाहीत. आणि जर ते बदलले 10व्या लाईनला तर आपण आपला समज असा असतो की ते पहिल्या लाईनसाठी या वेळेला कॅल्क्युलेशनला येणार नाहीत, पुढच्या वेळेला येतील. जसं मी इथे म्हणालो की suppose if I write this statement associated with Cn first, then it will consider the previous values of S1, S2, S3. Correct. We had a practice to write a sequential program. In every higher level language program we think in sequential manner, and therefore we feel that it is better to write a sequential architecture. But remember that we are going to describe the hardware. Hardware may not behave in sequential style. And therefore, for the real implementation of the hardware, it is always better to have a data flow architecture or structural architecture. Now, what we prefer? We prefer the data flow architecture first, because each and every output will be related with the input. Directly there is relation between input and output, and therefore it is the fastest implementation of the circuit. But suppose the design is complicated, it is much complicated, then we prefer the structural design, structural architecture style, because we can think in very simple manner. We can think about half adder only and then we will map the port. We can think about similar small sections of the design and then we may combine those sections to think about a entire design. And at the end, if there is no alternative, we may think about sequential design. This is the case for the sequential circuit like the flip-flop, like the counter, then a repel counter, etc. etc. Okay, now we will stop. Next time again we will continue with a reference of the book, in which we will have to think about the different types of delays and so on. Now once again I would like to request you that go through the book. It is very interesting book, Douglas Perry. Be prepared with your doubts if you have any. Otherwise what will happen? It will be the one-way traffic. Just I will deliver the content to you and I am not knowing that whether you are receiving that or not. It will be open communication like the radio or TV. Whether someone is watching or listening that, the radio has to no care about that. But it should not like this, and therefore you will have to write your own program. You will have to go through the difficulties so that you can find some doubts, some queries, and then we will discuss them and the discussion will be more fruitful. Okay, thank you.